Double the fun, double the danger with not one but two versions of Animated Lockdown. They are going to be our focus this time around in the latest GotBot True review. Hey all, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, your most humble of hosts, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. As always, man, please like, comment, share, of course, subscribe, and while you are at it, light them up, baby. Hit that notification bell, please. It helps me out a ton, and it lets you know when content of all sorts goes up here on the channel. Check out Machinery of Man, The Everything Factor, all the groups that I'm either a mod or an admin for, as well as all of my social media links. All of that is in the description down below, also in the description down below, and if you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link. Check us out on Patreon. See what we have to offer to you through spring, or of course, hit the join button at any given time and become a channel member. And this is Lockdown times 2, Lockdown and Blazing Lockdown. This is the Hasbro version. You know the difference for two reasons. One, the gold is a deeper gold here, more of a yellowy gold than on the Takara. And two, yeah, maybe you can see it. There is like a goldish color Decepticon logo here on the chest. That Decepticon logo, honestly, is purple and white. That's probably a little more accurate anyway on the Takara version. So that's really how you know. If you're not sure about the shade of the gold paint, look at the Decepticon logo there. I will also note now that I do mention how this leg doesn't have as much purple and silver as it should. It's more symmetrical with this one. I didn't realize that there's actually as much purple and it's not even silver, it's gray here as there is. It's still not enough, but I think maybe my score should have been slightly higher when it comes to that. We'll talk a little bit more about that when we come back here after the main review. But just a couple of little slight caveats there. So without any further ado, how about we head over to the table and take a closer look at these two. So I contemplated if we would do two separate reviews or not, and I decided, let's have some fun and do a 2-for-1 with Lockdown and Blazing Lockdown. The kind of main Lockdown for Transformers Animated came out in the first wave in 2008. The Burning version came out in the fifth wave, also in 2008, although the Takara version, which has a more muted gold color used for the flames, came out like 2 years later in like 2010. It was the weirdest timing because at that point, Animated was said and done really, and we were kind of gearing up, moving into Transformers Prime. So Lockdown with generally this sort of color scheme, except for more washed out flames, got released like around that time. It was weird. Anyway, we're going to look at both of them here and now. Naturally, the scores for the look and the kind of animation accuracy are going to be stronger for this guy than anything because this is, you know, really the way it is. Both cars look cool. They're a weird amalgamation, if you will, of like a Corvette from the 70s or 80s. I don't know, like hints of maybe a Cougar. I think I've heard that said before, that he's like a mix of a Corvette and a Cougar, something like that, with a bunch of spikes and like a cow catcher on the front and whatnot, because it's Lockdown, right? We're going to take a closer look at each car just very, very quickly, because here they're sort of back just a little bit. So with Blazing Lockdown, we have red translucent windows, we have a gold tampo of flames up here, as well as gold flames on the front. You can see that we have a chainsaw coming out of the front. Unfortunately, it does not flip underneath, but it is the same gold as this up here and these highlights down here and in the tire, so it all comes together nicely. Apparently, you're supposed to be able to push down on this and these still come out on the side, but I don't find that they work very well on this version. Anyway, it is what it is. Underneath, this is what it looks like. I love the look of this. Oh, the back, by the way. Come on, that's so cool. I love the look of this. This one is toleranced better than the mainline one, but it's obviously not as animation accurate. Speaking of which, here's the mainline one. And you might notice I don't have everything pegged together super duper solidly, and I'll explain why in a second. That's deliberate. We have the green detail up here, of course, just the Decepticon logo on the top. I find it kind of funny though, like, come on. Like, I get it aligned with the Decepticons, but Lockdown done whatever Lockdown wanted to do, really. This time, the highlights, instead of being gold, are gray, and I think it's fine. Again, I can never get this gimmick to work where you push down on it and these pop out. Though I do find that the two here pop out sometimes kind of on their own. And to be fair, I don't have instructions, so maybe I'm pressing the wrong thing. Though I thought it was this you had to push down on. Maybe I'm wrong. Again, still translucent windows. Underneath, cool. Why do I not have everything pegged in? Because one of the, is it up here? One of the hips on this copy loves to pop off. Doesn't happen on the other copy, for the record. Needless to say, this looks like the cartoon. It's too bad back here didn't have, I don't know, some paint or something for a back window and whatnot, but this is pretty darn accurate. I'm not going to give it a score right now, but it is pretty darn nice. Now then, since I find this guy to be a little more solid, I'm going to do the transformation from vehicle to robot using this guy. It's the exact same transformation between both of them, really, except for this piece here. Here, we're just going to take that out for now. On the other one, there's the hook that flips out, but we'll see that in a little bit. I'm also going to kind of split the nose here a little bit and bring this piece up, and I'm going to take all of that off. We'll lay that to the side for now, and we'll do the rest of the transformation. That will kind of become his, I guess, arm accessory a little bit later. So this is what we have right now. This is supposed to be flipped up thusly. Okay, on the back here, we wiggle off a leg, and we wiggle off a leg. On the other copy, when I wiggle off one of these legs, the whole leg comes off just because of the tolerance at the hip. We rotate down, and we rotate that down all the way. We rotate down, and rotate that down all the way for now. Looking pretty good, looking pretty good. Let's bring up the feet sections here and here. Bring up the little bumper piece, and extend the leg. Push this all the way down, close up the leg. Extend the leg, bend at the knee, push this all the way down. Extend the leg. That's the legs done. I'm going to stand the guy up so that we can finish the upper body. Lockdown gets shockingly tall. For Deluxe, he gets shockingly tall. He's lanky though, right? So we turn the body around. We take both of these arms off and out to the side. Really, we just extend the arm. And I guess we can bring out the hand and bring it down to the side. Bring up the shoulder. There, that's one arm done. On the other side, again, we unfurl it, turn it, bring it down, bring up the shoulder pad all the way down thusly, and then we open out the chest and we bring up the head. And I guess we could take his chainsaw thing. You'll notice I didn't flip out the hand over here, because we're going to use this peg on the outside. It's going to go into a peg hole in here, and Lockdown, assuming I can line this up. That's the worst part, I find, trying to line this up on his arm. I cannot line this up. I can't line that up without seeing it. I'm going to have to do it off screen. But basically, boom, in the end here we have Lockdown in his robot mode. By the by, I managed to get these two blasters out on this one, so that's the way it's supposed to look. And I'll note now, the one piece of transformation that's different is we bring out the hook for the regular version. And here we have both Lockdowns next to each other. I will let you know now, when I did the transformation on this guy, yes, his hip did pop off the ball joint, as it is prone to do. You'll also notice I don't have his other hand out. There's a reason for that. We'll get into it in just a couple of moments. Naturally, the animation accuracy will fall better for this guy, though he's still not perfect. The left arm over there should come down to a more like purple forearm with like kind of brown fingers instead of the black, but I get why they had to use kind of a symmetrical forearm, because in vehicle mode, where they're the back of the car, it needs to be symmetrical. I also like that they put the yellow highlight here and the silver highlight up here. Granted, we don't see the very upper yellow highlight on his shoulder, but I think that that's forgivable. The general layout of the greens and the blacks for his pelvis and his torso is right, though. No, I guess it's mostly right. Though I don't know if we're supposed to actually have a Decepticon logo there. I think it's just like a blackened out logo. The thighs, they look pretty correct, even with the like little tire with the spike here on the side. That looks correct. This lower leg is generally correct, with the foot being what it is and whatnot. Probably supposed to have a little more green, but I'm okay with it. The other leg, which looks pretty symmetrical, is actually supposed to be more asymmetrical. Yes, it has the foot, but really the front of the leg should have some more silver and purple as well. But again, I understand why they had to do it this way for vehicle accuracy. I'm going to say for animation accurate look, you know, this guy isn't. He looks really cool, but he's a 0 for animation accuracy. This guy is about a 9 for animation accuracy. The transformation on this guy, because there's a part that pops off, that's a bummer. It's only about a 5 or 6. Transformation the way it's supposed to work on this guy, about a 10. You confused with the numbers yet? Confused with the numbers yet? So let me kind of clarify for you. The regular lockdown currently is getting a 9 for his look and about a 5 for the transformation because of a hip that incessantly pops off. Average of a 9 and a 5 is about a 7.5. Then the other blazing lockdown, we have, a 0 really for his animation look, but a 10 for the transformation. His average should be about a 5. However, I think the look of this is so cool, that I want to give it a 10. I love the look of it. So we're going to split the difference and say that his look is a 7 and his transformation is a 10. So whereas this guy overall is a 7.5, this guy overall is more like an 8.5. That being said, we do have to do the articulation, and I do want to point something out. So I'm going to just take him off for a second. There is the episode where Lockdown has both his hook and the chainsaw. So you can, if you have both, actually, if I can do this, put the chainsaw on and have both arms. That's why I didn't have the wrist down. Have both arms, have alternate arms, if you will. So taking both of these off now, because you know that they can go on, we're going to fold out his hand to there, fold out his hand to there. Let's do the articulation. I'm going to tell you now the articulation for both of these guys is exactly the same. No remolding was done here. Though I think a mold does exist, maybe related to live action, a G1ified version, something where the hands were changed. As things are, we have a head that goes left and right, fairly free-flowing. I mean, it goes all the way around. The shoulders can go way up. They can go all the way around, though they do look weird. I'm not going to lie. We have very deep elbows, but they're like double hinged. They're just odd. Swivel. Nothing at the wrist, and sadly the hand only goes out that far. Here's the bummer with that. A lot of people try to push the hand out farther and have ended up just breaking it off. I'm not going to do that. There is a rectangular tab right here. I don't know why it exists there. I think if I owned this, and again, neither of these are mine, they both belong to Maximal 10, but if I owned it, I think I would shave that down, because it looks like there's a space in there where the wrist could pass if it had room to do so, I guess. We do have a waist, which is nice and free-flowing. Legs. High kick forward, man. High kick forward. And back. By the way, it's the other hip on this one that likes to pop off. Knee. Knee's the bummer. Knee is only that. Real limited knee. And no like thigh swivel or anything. And nothing at the toes. As far as out to the side goes, I mean, about that far. So the hips are somewhat limited, and the legs could be a bit better than what they are. You can get some cool poses. I do wish the legs were handled a little bit better than what they are. I'm going to say that the overall articulation is about, it's okay, 7.5. I'm going to say that this version of Lockdown is a 7.5. I'm going to say that the Burning version of Lockdown, he was getting an 8.5. If his articulation is the same and still a 7.5, then yeah, overall he's an 8. I think the Burning Lockdown is slightly better, even though it's not animation accurate. But a lot of that is because the hip fails on this guy. If the hip didn't fail, then I would prefer this one, right? Let's do the transformation back to vehicle mode. I'm going to try and show it with this guy, because I do think that the joy of this guy isn't in the look, isn't even in the articulation. The joy of this guy is the excellent and enjoyable transformation. And I even like that the center of his hood does come out very elegantly. It's just a peg and is usable here, but it incorporates beautifully, beautiful, accessory storage, if you will, in vehicle mode. We're going to fold in that first and lay this aside for now. I guess we could fold these back as well if we want. So we're going to lay that aside for now. We'll put it in just a little bit. We're going to open the chest and put the head back down and close it up. We're going to see that hip just came right off. It does not at all like to stay on. It goes back on no problem, but like, what a bummer, man. What a bummer. We're going to take both arms and bring them up. And really what you're going to do, after you fold in the hands, by the way, is you're going to turn them and turn them so that this fin, I suppose, is at the back. And then you're going to kind of use the elbow hinges to finagle this to fit in here. And same over here, we're going to use it to finagle it to fit in there. We're going to make sure these are together. We're going to make sure that these are in here, right? Beautiful. Very, very elegant, actually, how that goes. I might not quite have it in there perfectly now, but it will be when we're done. It will be when we are done. We're going to take this leg and we're going to flip this all the way up. We're going to collapse the leg. We're going to bring this around to the back. And we're even going to bring this here on the side for now. Then we're going to do the same thing over here. We're going to bend at the knee to bring out the hood section, close the knee back up. We're going to collapse the knee and bring all of that back and bring this around. In essence, we should be able to push everything together, but we do need to use this right here to put the center of the hood on. Bring that down, squeeze it in between. See, it just comes off. Just comes off. And it doesn't happen with the other one. I tried to show it with you guys here, but you can see how, like, if that hip is what it is, like, it's a real nuisance, man. But in the end, boom, here we have Lockdown back in his vehicle mode. By rights, like I said, should be very elegant. Man, oh man, other than the hand having a limitation and a couple of limits with the legs, this was and still is a pretty great mold. Very hefty, very big. Even though he gets lanky, he is large and imposing. It's a great Lockdown. I like the look of this one better. I really wish that this could fold in. It cannot, unfortunately. That's the only bummer with this one, is that having the like saw piece, it doesn't flip in. If I own both, there's a part of me that might use this over here. But again, I'm a little bit colored. While I think overall this version is better based on my experience, a lot of that is colored by the fact that the hip, as you saw multiple times, does pop off on the original version, at least on this copy of it. Great mold, fun mold. Animated was a blast, man. In the end, overall score, 7.5 for this guy and 8 for this guy. Man, oh man, Lockdown. He's a win all day, every day.
And here we are once again, here they are. So this guy is everything that I said that he was. He is splendid. He has the lovely gold on the back. He has the nice flame deco. It's too bad this can't go away. The articulation is as good on both as, you know, on either one as it is on the other. The transformation is better here because we don't have the hip issue. And the look is just cool. This is a cool look. I dig it. I really, really dig it. Then we get to this guy, the animation accurate guy, who I scored slightly lower. I think that rather than 7.5 and an 8, they should probably both be an 8. So I'm kind of reneging ever so slightly. I think they should both be an 8. I think it was a little harsh about the animation accuracy because I didn't realize that this leg was as asymmetrical as what it is. So rather than marking it what I did, I'm going to give it like half a point higher basically. Still not, like, neither is perfect, but they're both pretty great. And if you know Lockdown, then you know that it's Lockdown, right? Both are an 8. The kind of advantage that this one has is animation accuracy. The advantage that this one has is a flawless transformation. If this one has a flawless transformation, then this one wins. They're great. Great Lockdown. He's super fun. Great alt mode. Excellent looking robot mode. Very well articulated arms, even though the hands are a little eh. The legs are hefty. It's too bad that they have a couple of limitations, but you know what? This was a long time ago, man. This was way back in the days of 2008, some 15 odd years ago. So, you know what? Advancements since then. At the time, this was pretty splendid. Even now, all these years later, there's an argument for these still being splendid, and they still scored very well. Let me know what you think about animated Lockdown. Which one of these versions is your favorite, or maybe you prefer the kind of translucent stealth version, or maybe the one with the different head that I want to say is live action that has the better hands. I think it has better hands. There's a few versions of this mold that exists. For me and my limited experience, I like this one the best. That's it. I'm going to get out of here. I appreciate you guys coming by, giving me some of your extremely valuable time. I do know how important it is to you. If you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link. Check us out on Patreon. See what we have to offer to you through Spring, or of course hit the join button at any given time and become a channel member. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, man. Stick around, have some fun with us, and especially do not forget that you right there, you do make a difference in the world. And I look forward to the next time that you and I get together to have another visit, either in the live streams on Thursday nights at the stop motion premieres or the old fashioned way right here inside the videos.